What's up, everyone? This is Bob and Chris from Join or Die Podcast. Today is Sunday, September 1st, beginning of Fur Months, which is also known as this whole month is Halloween month. Um, Today I'm drinking the Oktoberfest again, I think. What is it? Go? Jacko.
Jacko. Oh my God.
Yingling.
Pennsylvania's finest Yingling Oktoberfest.
Yeah. We haven't had bourbon in a while. Gets a little bit,
It's a little cold.
a little cooler, warm up the heart. But we got a pretty good show. Some fun topics to talk about. Tulsi Gabbard has now endorsed Donald Trump. She's the second Democrat to endorse Donald Trump. First, obviously, being RFK. We spoke about that last week, and RFK put up a great tweet. It was RFK tweet. Tulsi Gabbard or Wonder Woman joins the Justice League. It was great. So I guess that makes Donald Trump Bruce Wayne.
I like it.
He's rich. All right. Zuckerberg finally admits what we all knew, and that he was pressured by the Biden administration to censor certain code information. And if that's the case, I'm sure he was also pressured by prominent Democrats to censor information going into the election. He also did admit that he was censored into censoring the Hunter laptop story. We all knew this, but now it's finally coming to light, whether because
He's hedging bets.
well,
I think he may be
we'll
hedging.
look at it. Well, we'll talk about why we think. And then we're going to talk about this Venezuelan gang alleged takeover of an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah, that's probably going to be our long one. Again, we both have law enforcement experience, so we got our own opinions on that. So that's what we're going to get into today. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, share this video, comment, do all that good stuff. We're trying to grow this a little bit now. I think we're very low subscribers, as you can see down there. But
It's
hopefully
actually meant to get out.
hopefully we grow and you guys can grow with us. So share this, tell people about us. If you have any comments on how we can make it better, write that down in the comment section below and grow with us. And with that, let's get into our first subject. Tulsi Gabbard joining Donald Trump and endorsing.
He's so right wing. He's so far right.
Yeah.
RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. He's just a far right lunatic that the real old school Democrats are now looking at him saying, well, this is a good 50. Listen, I watched a video, not to get off of Tulsi, just on RFK. I think he was on Fox and Friends. He was talking about the poisons they put. And I sent it to my wife because they're slowly killing you. So, I think this would be a great guy maybe for the FDA. It's another big pharma kind of, because, the FDA, the food is subsidized by the government. The government does contracts with them, and, and then why do they keep you sick? Well, here comes big pharma to make you better after we make you sick. Tulsi's another one where, we've seen her against Kamala Harris a few years ago, and, with that train wreck in place. I like it. She's a combat medic, and actually someone who did serve in combat. Yes. And no fake, no fault, no stolen valor. She makes a lot of sense. She's very well spoken. Not a bad looking.
Funny because, I saw, recently. I don't remember where it was. It might have been on YouTube or where it might have been reaction video to a video on YouTube. But it was basically a girl. You know what it was? It was a comedian who was trolling DNC. And he's asking all these questions the members there and people who were attending. And one of the attendees, female, and he was talking about, he said, I think the guy was gay. Comedian. Like, where are all the good-looking Democrats? And the girl even says, she was like, it's hard to find a good-looking Democrat. This is that the DNC. She's voting for Kamala. She said it. It's hard to find a good-looking Democrat. And he was like, oh, so all the good-looking ones are on the Republican side. And she was like, yeah, but they're evil. So it's a balance act.
Evil and good-looking.
But that was funny. That was one of their own. Tulsi Gabbard. I've been a fan of Tulsi for a while now. Ever since maybe a little bit before the primaries and the 2020 Democratic primaries, and she was on that stage and she single-handedly Kamala's run for presidents. She just says a lot of things that make sense. And Democrats who were in office now claim that they're center or they're moderate. she was a true moderate. Somebody asked me during that election if they asked her to vote for Trump. Absolutely, from especially compared to who his opponent is. And she asked me, "Would you ever consider voting for a Democrat? Which one would it be?" And I said, then Tulsi Gabbard, be a Democrat who I would consider voting for, depending on who she's running against. I'm not going to agree with her 100%, obvious.
The only thing that scared me about her then was,
Guess what? I don't agree. Donald Trump says I'm
no,
about
no,
being
no, no, no.
100% core values.
I don't, and we'll get into this later, but I never, at the time, when she was running as a Democrat from Hawaii, I didn't care for her 2A stand. She was an anti-2A person. Maybe not adamantly against 2A, but restrict. She's come a long way since then. She's done a lot of videos on now being pro 2A, and I think the lockdown showed her that and this and that. Is she serious? Is she catering now to a different? I don't know. There's videos of her shooting. She looks like she's getting into it. I don't think they're fakes. I always keep my guard up, but she's not going to be in a position where she's going to have any constitutionality. I mean, she's going to be able to. She's not running for president. Give her a seat in the cabinet. Again, I would be worried about RFK being president because now he has a lot more power to make these calls. Yeah, I would be worried about, but we find people who have, where we have these common agreements on, and you go, okay, this is what we can agree on. Let's put you here. So RFK, would I want him as president over Trump? No. Do I want him somewhere like the FDA or environmental health?
Absolutely.
Or something? 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. Policy? What? That's why I wouldn't have her. I mean, how much more worse can it get? Put her Secretary of State.
Not a bad idea.
All right, put her.
Not a bad idea.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with something like that.
Speaking of Tulsi Gabbard and Hawaii, buddy of mine just got back from Hawaii, and he bought me this thing right here. Big fan. Thank you so much. Right here. Oh, watch it. Yeah, so Tulsi joins the Justice League. I love that. I just like the analogy after that. That's fine. And it's fitting because no matter if you want to admit it or not, I'm not saying the Republican Party, but this administration in particular, the Trump administration, is running on justice. And I don't think the Democrats have an argument.
It's politicians against the government,
and this is
which
going
is
to,
great.
This is going to like kind of segue into what we're going to be talking about when we talk about the Venezuelan gang. Before we get there, gotta talk about Zuckerberg. Now he's allegedly now finally admitting all of this information, forced to censor certain information through Facebook, COVID, about Hunter's laptop, and how they all labeled it Russian, and or however ex-CIA.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it was, they said it has all the ingredients of a Russian disinformation.
All the earmarks.
We all knew that was bullshit. They knew it was bullshit, but they know that as long as they say, and they do this a lot, and politicians in general do this a lot, they'll try to put names. Oh, this 80% of scientists agree, 52 or 50, whatever the hell it was, CIA.
But it's like
old chiefs agree.
90% of these pieces of agree that you're a piece of shit. That's what they're basically saying. It's like, so hold on. So this guy, so I'm going to believe the CIA.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest pieces of shit to walk the earth and screw up this country. When you say 90% of them agree, I'm like, that's everything I need to know.
And that's talking mainly the upper echelon of the CIA.
We're not talking about the people actually doing the job. The people who are actually doing the contractors who are. No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about the bigger ways.
That's usually where the issues lie. I mean, and that makes sense. That's the people who run the agency. Same thing in a corporation or a company. People will have a main issue with teachers. Most people don't have an issue with the teachers themselves. Most people. Most of the time, it's the teachers' unions who cause the issue.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, you do have some teachers that are out there who are just trying to teach their agenda.
Oh, sure,
of course. But as a whole,
generally, beware.
Yeah, generally, teachers aren't the issue. It's the teachers' unions, and people say, "Well, they don't care about your kids." And not for nothing. To be fair, it's not the teachers' unions' job to care about your kids. They're teachers' unions. It's not the students' unions. So I understand, I understand that when they're fighting for teachers but during the whole COVID thing, um, they were trying their hardest not to go back to school. When we're talking about and they were trying to make
Well, I had it exposed. Wasn't there like a Zoom call that got exposed
Yeah.
when they were talking about we can't let the parents find out.
Mhm.
I'm paraphrasing, but basically them saying, we can't let the parents find out what we're talking about. Like, the minute you sit there, think about how evil that is when you're an adult, a teacher, and you're saying, parents find out.
That's why they were scared that a lot of stuff came out.
Why would you say that?
A lot of stuff came out when they were doing homeschooling.
Yeah, that's
A lot of parents were actually listening. Now they're basically in the classroom with the kids and seeing what's being taught and having issues with it. And that brought a lot of light to the situation. COVID screwed up a lot of people, screwed up a whole generation of kids. Like, they're still behind when it comes to learning, and there's no apology for that. They haven't apologized for it, and even if they did, well, they never apologized.
Narcissists never apologize.
They never admit that they're wrong. And you would get so much more respect if you just came out and said, "Listen, at the time we felt this way. This is why." But guess what? Things have changed since then. We realize our mistake. We're going to make it better. Why can't people do that?
Because, again, they're psychologically not on the same plane as we are. We're people who are, if you're a person who's proud, like justifiably proud, not like egotistical proud. If you're a person who's proud and a person who, when you look in the mirror, you judge yourself. If I drop the ball, hey, my bad, I dropped the ball. I apologize. I'm going to work on that so that never happens again. If you drop the ball deliberately and you drop it again and drop it again, and then someone says, dude, you got to stop dropping the ball. It's like, I'm not dropping the ball. You're not throwing it correctly. It's like, dude, do you want it? I'm throwing it at your hands.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, it's like they're always going to find a way to shift blame. Like any, and then you're talking about the teachers union, politicians. At the end of the day, they're politicians. They're out for themselves. So, but getting off Zuckerberg, here's the thing with him. Am I glad that he said it? Yeah, I think it helps the cause because so many people have their head in the sand. So I think it helps the cause. But here's the two things. One, you're a billionaire, right? If the FBI called me up and said, we need you to do this, we need you to do that, or even demanded, said, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, I couldn't say fuck you fast enough. And then I'm going to get every lawyer I have to fight against it. And then I'm going to go on every talk show and say, this is exactly what was told. And this is exactly what was said to me. And I was told if I didn't do this, they're going to call me. Why not say that? Because you're a bitch. Zuckerberg's a bitch. And now I think what he's afraid of, he didn't have an epiphany. He didn't have an epiphany. He did not. He is looking at, if Trump gets in,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and RFK,
That's
who's
what I'm
pissed
saying.
off too, if he gets in, he's hedging his bets. He's trying, he's a business guy. He's looking at it like, if they get in, they're going to come after him. All right. And the first person I would put in charge of that is Elon, because he knows that who better than someone who took over Twitter and found out how many bots and garbage was in there. So I don't listen. Zuckerberg, he's a scumbag. Am I glad he said it? Yeah, but he again, these are guys, just because you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for your own ass. That's all he's doing it for. So again, I still feel the same about him.
We got an article from the New York Post. Zuckerberg admits Biden admin pressure Facebook to censor COVID content, says it was wrong to suppress the Post's Hunter laptop coverage. I'm not going to even bother reading this full article, but I'm just going to get down to a quote. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it, he wrote. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. That last part is pretty much what I said about all politicians when they're wrong. Just admit that you're wrong.
He's giving them this is his mea culpa. Yeah, he's giving his apology or whatever you want to call it. I just don't.
It's and I wanted to bring that up because is it sincere?
This guy fucked up the entire 2020 election.
Yeah,
by pressing that information.
Was
We're in the position we're in now because of what he
partly, yeah.
partly.
Was it sincere? That's what I was getting at. I don't think it's sincere. And I tend to believe it's kind of like you said, he's doing this just in case Donald Trump does win come November. He can say, hey, listen, I tried to get into his good graces. That says a couple things.
And Trump is a forgiving person.
Does he know he is? Does he know more on the on the inside than the rest of us when it comes? Because I mean,
He's not saying everything.
This race is very tight. No matter what people say, I don't care what people say. I know polls are kind of bullshit, and it's hard to polls, especially after 2016 when they had losing every freaking state pretty much. He had like a 90% chance of losing, and he won. And so it makes me believe that he might know something a little bit more on the inside. Maybe he knows how scared the Democrats are in this election. Maybe it's not as close as we think. I don't know. That doesn't. I'm not on the red wave bullshit because I heard that crap before and it was a trickle. And so I'm not doing a whole red wave. He's going to take 50 states or 49 out 50. That ain't happening. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. And that kind of scares me because of who the candidate is. She had this ridiculous interview with CNN that was pre-recorded, and
she had her phone or friend next door.
She had her support animal.
This boob of all people, like this guy's like that.
It's just
how stupid people are. I blame women.
That interview, I don't really want to talk about the interview that much because she said a whole lot of things but said nothing at the same time. Like when they asked her, what are you going to do on day one? She just said, I'm going to implement my policies with her nasal voice. And
because you haven't had the chance to.
3.5 years.
Yeah, you've agreed. I understand you're vice president. You're not president.
Yeah, but you have influence.
You had influence. At no time have you said, well, listen, me and the president, I work for him and, my loyalty is to him. I don't agree with everything he does. And we have our debate. If you at least said that, I could turn around and go, all right, at least, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but if she said that out loud, then you can at least turn around and say, all right, well, maybe she's having some arguments behind closed doors. Maybe things would be a little different, but she says all the time, she agrees with them. She's the last one in the room. She thinks the pull out of Afghanistan was fine. I mean, this is this human being. She actually wanted to go after Trump for the bullshit, the suckers and losers, which is complete bullshit. While Trump was at, was it Arlington National Guard?
Recently, you're talking about, yeah.
He went there. She was trying to attack him for going there over a bullshit story from years ago from someone Trump fired, while the person who's responsible for this, her and her boss, didn't even go to that.
Her bosses, after the DNC, I kind of figured, you're not, that's the last you're going to see of Joe Biden.
Well, I'm saying the pull out of, I'm saying Afghanistan. That was Joe Biden's
Okay.
decision. But again, she didn't turn around and say at any time, listen, I have my disagreements with him, but at the end of the day, he's president. Well, then I can turn around and go, maybe she didn't agree with it. But she's like, nope, I was the last one in the room, and I agree with this and I agree with that. Then you're going to sit there and turn around. And here's the thing, too. The families wanted Trump there. They did not want, well, let me rephrase that. They wanted Trump there. I don't know if they wanted Harris and Biden there or not. I know the family said at no time did Biden or Harris ever contact them, but Trump did. And you're going to make fun of this guy. And then they're like, oh, he's posing for pictures. The families wanted pictures. Some families couldn't have been there that day. I think they said a family or two couldn't have been there, or a member couldn't have been there that day. Asked for pictures. The guy's doing what Gold Star families are asking him to do, and you're mocking him for it.
And at the
because you're a piece of shit.
At the very least, what they deserve after their family members
Very least.
gave the ultimate sacrifice.
And you're going to mock the guy for doing, again, people are stupid. And honestly, here we go. I blame women. Not all, because my wife's good. But women tend to vote emotionally. And I understand, like we said, we went down this road before. I understand that women want a woman president. They may feel like, hey, it's about time. Okay, fine. I'm not against having a female president. You're just picking any slop that comes in. It's like, all you're seeing is even skin.
Well, they didn't even pick her.
sex.
They didn't even pick her. She was installed this time.
Maybe one vote.
At least they voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 to be the nominee. This one was just installed. Harris was just installed. I'm sure there's still a lot of people who do not like that. They're going to vote anyway because of their hatred for Donald Trump, and a lot of that is driven because from the media.
Or
A lot of
lies
that
that
is
she's,
just
yeah,
well,
lies.
it's all lies driven by her. I mean, I'm still seeing ads talking about how he called troops stupid and suckers, whatever.
That was the thing.
And it's
We're talking
bullshit.
about. It was
I'm still seeing
bullshit.
those ads. I'm still seeing them go up there and say and promote the to find people on both sides hoax.
Well, all you have to do is go on YouTube and type in and watch the whole video. It's like, that's not what he said.
No, well, it is what he said, but he said in particular,
But
I'm
they
not
omitted-
talking about the
right.
neo-Nazis
They
because they
omitted
should
it.
be condemned all the time.
Right. They omitted it. They
Yeah.
cut. I mean, you can edit video or omit it, or we're just going to take this clip. When you said missed before and after, which brought the whole thing into context, and people fall for that. I'm telling you, it's biggest problem with voting right now. I don't care how much heat I get, is suburban women, and that's the one that Trump has the problem with. It's the brunchers. Andy Frisella says it all the time. It's the pickies up in the air when they're sipping their tea at brunch every week, talking about,
And a lot of it is the abortion thing. Again,
that's your issue. Is we
but-
don't have enough dead children.
that's amazing to me. And what's amazing, like if you're going to be a one issue
Issue.
voter, that's your issue. And
Not the economy.
and it's all lies. Like it's they're trying to say that he wants to do a federal ban on abortion. No, he doesn't. He said it multiple times. Ending Roe v. Wade, which the Supreme Court did. Yes, he appointed judges who ultimately came to that decision.
But it was the right decision because it's not protecting
it's
the
not-
Constitution.
Yes, it's not banning. It's just to get back to the states where it was originally, where it should
Where
be.
it should be.
Like you talk about, you want the federal government out of your vagina, as you say all the time, except for when Roe v. Wade is in play and it benefits you.
We're vaccinating people, and
Yes.
now it's fine if it's fine if it's in a syringe.
Listen, it goes back. It's back in the states. Now the power is in the people. You can vote in people if they could come in and they say, no, we're not going to do any limits on abortion. And you choose to vote for that. You can do that now in the state. There is no federal ban. I don't think he's going to do a federal ban. I don't think he wants to. He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't even talk about it. It's nowhere.
He
else.
just said 6 weeks is too early. He actually just said 6 weeks is too. But they wanted to say anything past 6 weeks. I think the right. Well, I'll attack the right too. The right was saying nothing after 6 weeks. Trump said that's too early because some people don't even know they're pregnant.
And I
at 6
agree with
weeks.
that.
And I
I
think the
think-
heartbeat bill is.
I think it's 8. It's 8 or 10.
So,
right.
So I'll attack the other side.
6
too.
weeks is absolutely too. Is
That's-
absolutely too
that's-
short. Listen,
that's
I don't
ridiculous.
believe in abortion. Me personally, I feel
Gotta
like
have
we,
shades of gray.
we've spoken about this. I feel like I personally do not believe in abortion at any time, minus in the
Incest,
usual
rape,
exceptions.
right,
Incest,
that-
rape, like of course
that
that
for the
there
moment.
there are exceptions. And it's terrible if a woman has to go through that, given those exceptions. But I personally don't believe in it, minus the exceptions. But I also feel like it's a necessary evil in this country. Because of that, I feel like there has to be some kind of negotiation where you can come to that's reasonable. 6 weeks isn't reasonable. That's
side-
crazy to me.
The side that's voting for this is the side that is just reckless section. Let's just call it like it is. You were talking about liberal women who are more sexually promiscuous than, I'm not saying all, but most. Let's be honest. Call it like it is. Liberal women are more sexually promiscuous than conservative. So they're the ones who are going to have the slips more often. And they're the ones who regard this as a priority. Now, on the other side, you have the Bible beaters who are no abortion at any time, no matter what. That's the end of it. It's like, you're also an idiot.
Yeah.
You're all, at least you're trying to stand on a higher moral ground.
Yeah.
But again, it's still not reality. Again, if a woman's raped or if a woman if it's incestual or the woman's body can be dead with their health issues, you need to have shades of gray in this. A 14 or 15-year-old does something stupid one night and now she winds up knocked up or something. It's like, and she catches it early. I mean, again, if I'm the father here of that child, it's like, do I want a 15-year-old? These are talks that need to happen at the family table, the dinner table, with family. And these are reasonable discussions. Both sides are completely unreasonable. One wants to kill after birth. The other one wants to say absolutely not, no matter what. They're both idiots. both, and honestly, for the right to know, they've actually said I forget who the girl's name is, but she's like a super pro-lifer, point where she's incomprehensible. Said that she's basically starting a movement where Donald Trump doesn't push. She will not vote for Donald Trump. It does not push illegal abortion. Period. Like abortion is illegal. But I'm like,
That's a losing platform.
by doing that, you're putting votes in the person who wants to have infanticide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're an absolute imbecile. I get okay, fine. That's your stance that you're allowed to have it, but you almost come up. Both sides are coming off like terrorists. These are my demands. Even you meet them, or we're gonna blow everything up.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Go nuts. Both these are.
We got a little bit off topic from Zuckerberg, just a little
We're
bit.
talking about
Just a little bit.
We're talking about international, and I think that's fine to talk about that when we're talking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I make it up as I go.
One of the other hot topics in this election is border and all the illegal migrants that have been coming in the border, just flowing in, millions and millions of them. And part of that issue brings us to our next. There's Venezuelan gangs that allegedly took over an apartment complex in Colorado. Now there's video of this where I guess the video came from maybe complex's camera, because it does kind of look like it's from like the roof part, or
I don't know if
I don't know if it was a neighbor across from this door, but you see these gang members just coming in with guns. One looked like he had like an AR style rifle. The other ones had handguns. I think one had Uzi or what?
Yeah, they were well armed. I mean, multiple small arms. I mean, some had
They weren't
rifle style guns or something like that. But I mean, you're talking about.
But they come in. You see them coming up. There's a lookout down like
He's on the phone.
He's on the phone. He's in like the midway section of where the stairwell turns.
So this is
in the landing area.
coordinated per se.
Mm-hmm. And they go into this one apartment complex. Don't know who's in this apartment complex. I don't know the full story with that. I don't know if it's what they know. It was a drug deal. It was just a random person living there, and they were going over the apartment. Do you know more about that?
So from what I've watched, read, heard other people say, podcasts, witnesses, news, interviewing the residents of the area, there are women who have said who are residents in that apartment complex, and they've basically taken it over like a mob. These people have called the police multiple times. The police either don't show up or show up hours later. You know, and you're talking about guys at your door. A dozen. I look like a dozen of them in the video. Like 4 come up originally, then 2 or 3 more come up in the stairwell. Then there's another 2, 3 more down in the stairwell. So we're talking about almost a dozen guys armed. That's just there. I mean, dude's on the phone, so he's not on the phone with anybody who's right there. Who's he talking to outside?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then they show parking lot full. Not even dozens. It look like hundreds of these migrants. How does the police not show up? I mean, you know, so I was watching a video earlier, and you had the mayor of Denver and the mayor of Aurora. The mayor of Denver's far left-wing lunatic, and the mayor of Aurora sounds like more of a shill Republican. The mayor from Aurora, who's technically he's a Republican, he said that basically it's overblown. He almost said that the phone calls, even though it's overblown and the news is making too much of it, the 911 center is overblown with calls. So how is it bullshit if you're overwhelming the 911 system? If they're overwhelming, it's because something's happening, you stooge. Where are the cops? So then they had, I think, the deputy chief of the Aurora Police Department on, and he was shilling too. And you know this as well as me. Stop having the higher ups on, have the street sergeants on, have the cops on the street on, because or even the lieutenants at sometimes will tell you what's really going on. You're getting a deputy chief who's another politician. He's going to do whatever he's told because that's, you know, once you get to a certain rank, just like in the military, you're a company guy because you're all about moving up as far as you can go, get that pension. That's all they give a shit about. So to the cops out there who are giving a stand down order, fuck you. Fuck you. If you're sitting there legitimately standing down on that order, and if you're getting these radio calls and these people are calling for help and they're armed gang members, illegal alien armed gang members outside these women's houses, and you're not going in, you're an absolute piece of shit. And I don't want to hear, well, we were ordered not to. Then quit. Quit.
Or defy the order.
Defy the order, which you will absolutely probably take heat from, but you'll absolutely be vindicated for. Or
And you'll be on the
quit.
right. More importantly, you'll be on the right.
You'll be on the
side.
right side, correct side.
You'll be on the right
Yeah,
side.
I mean, I cannot get it through my head. I could hear a radio call, people calling for help when something like that's going. Like, you know, if that comes out over the radio, I mean, Aurora is a smaller town, but everybody, if that happens here, everybody in at least, you know, that division is lights and sirens. SWAT's going to show up. I mean, you're fucking dozen people with guns. It's a home invasion at the very least. And for no one to show up, it absolutely baffled me. And this is, again, why I cannot deal with the modern day police department. I mean, cars would be crashing into each other 20 years ago, trying to get that. And now, like, they don't even go. It's like, well, we were told not to go.
We have an article from, this is Denver 7 EC. So it's low. I decided not to go in that because probably get more of a reality of what's going on. They look. So, Aurora police investigate claim of Venezuelan gang takeover apartment. Now I'm just going to skip right down to where the interim Aurora police chief, Heather Morris, says in a police provided interview that officers found no evidence of a gang takeover. We've been talking to the residents here and learning from them to find out what exactly is going on, and there's definitely a different picture. I'm not saying that there's not gang members that don't live in the community, but what we're learning out here is that gang members have not taken over this complex. Now, she's the interim Aurora police chief.
So where's the police chief?
Was
he fired, suspended, or stepped down? Because he's like, I'm not dealing with this.
When this happened or not.
Mhm.
Still, Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman said the city is seeking an emergency court order to shut down the apartment buildings that he claims have been overrun by the Venezuelan gang by declaring them a criminal nuisance. Now, you got a mayor saying that it's happening. You got an interim police chief saying that it's not happening.
And what? So she's an interim police chief, which means you're garbage. I can tell you right now, and you know this as well as I do, they probably went up to her and said, hey, Wacky, you want a shot at being a police chief? Follow the script. And she was like, absolutely. Follow the script. You're going to say this. No problem. There's definitely evidence of gangs there. Well, first of all, she said there was no evidence of gang takeover, even though there's videos. And apparently we're overwhelming the 911.
If it's not a takeover, what is that video that we're watching? Like
Are we
explain
talking
that.
semantics?
Yeah, like explain
It's
that.
not really a takeover because by definition, a takeover is this, a takeover. Okay, fine. I mean, again, what's your name? Heather Morris. I'm sure you're highly decorated and did a fantastic job on the street, Heather. Especially if you're the interim, I'm sure. I mean,
Well, interim man. Now you're telling me. What's that telling me is that the chief stepped down, got fired. Whatever the case
the
is,
chief most likely
is
either
not
got
there.
fired or resigned.
The chief's not there. You're an interim, so this whole thing for you is a job interview.
That's all.
To try to see how you are.
That's it.
How you deal with it. And get back to what you said earlier. You said like they should have sergeants, lieutenants who are on the street doing these interviews. That's never.
It's never going to happen because you're good at the truth.
Exactly, and they're not as polished as the upper brass who do this every day. Like, you know,
Polished? So, polished meaning like they know what to say.
they know what they say,
what
how
to
to
say,
say.
right.
Yeah. If you put like a lieutenant out there who just went through a situation where people are breaking into apartment complexes heavily armed, he's going to tell you what happened.
So a good reporter, which there are almost none of, when this interim Wacky turned around and said that, a reporter should have turned around and go, when was the last time you were in that apartment complex?
Yeah, well,
And then she should go, well, I get a lot of feedback from, why am I talking to you and not them?
shouldn't be talking to them. Just talk to
Why am I
res-
talking to you?
just
If you're
talk to the
better here,
residents.
you're not even a witness.
I mean, the residents are. You said earlier, the residents are out there
Right.
talking about how this is going on.
So the residents are saying this. So you're saying they're lying?
Mhm. Yeah,
Like, dude, I'm not a journalist.
maybe you should.
I don't think there's a reason why they don't want to put a camera in my face. But I mean, or a mic. It's just like, that's the problem. Like, they're perfectly, it's like the whole friggin' thing is scripted. The press goes, hey, here comes some way up question. No problem. I'm going to give you pretty much, generalized answer or whatever. It's like, it's just going to be a garbage ad and we're not going to press you because I can't stay here. Okay, fine. Meanwhile, if you had a real chief up there, like the chief, I don't know if he resigned, he quit, whatever. But I mean, what he needs to turn around and go, I don't care what the mayor says. I don't care what the governor says. And I don't care what anybody else says. I'm there physically with my troops. And this is exactly what's going on. I'm on the ground at this place. And I can tell you right now, it's a friggin' war zone waiting to happen. These residents are being terrorized. We're at a point where we need to have all hands on deck, or we're going to have to bring in the National Guard.
You know
We're
who-
talking about gangs from Venezuela who don't play by the same rules as our gangs.
Now it's funny, like, well, it's not funny, but if you look at it, and I think you'll agree with me here because it makes perfect sense. The only upper brass that you see saying things like that and telling the truth, truth. I said truth. Truth is yes, exactly.
Sure.
Elected
Because they're elected.
position. You're not going to see these puppets who are up there. Not all of them are puppets. Some of them do have balls. Some of them are good, but you're not going to. You're more likely to get the truth out of somebody who's in an elected position than somebody who's appointed.
Sure.
And
I-
that's the
no,
problem.
I-
That's the problem. Maybe they should all maybe they should all be elected.
But here's the
Sure.
but the problem is too. Okay, suppose he's elected, but he's elected in a more blue area. Who endorses this shit?
Yeah, you know what?
He's
I-
not going
I-
to give the right answer either.
I already changed that. I already changed.
Because at the
I don't
end,
want that
no,
happening.
no, it's just, I mean, sheriffs can be better. Like you look down south, they're in red areas, and you're like, there's a Grady Judd. I think
Those
it's
videos
one.
are
You see
great.
some of these guys, they're
Those
no
are great.
nonsense. They love it. And those areas get cleaned up real quick. And
Yeah.
the criminals know, hey, these guys ain't messing around.
Yeah.
And that's shit that is not going to happen because it would have
No.
it really would have been like a war zone. Those cops would have went in there, it would have been cleaned up, or it would have been a shootout and
Yeah.
been cleaned up. But either way, the message would have been sent. We're not standing for this. This just emboldens. It just
Yeah.
emboldens them. And then you come out, Heather Morris, you're a piece of shit.
Boom. You heard it here.
It's just, I mean, I'm just so sick of these people, man. This is exactly why people hate cops. Because you're sitting there, they're probably, well, they're not doing that. They're probably writing tickets somewhere, doing some nonsense, harassing people over nonsense. And they're not actually doing real police work, which is, holy shit, it's like Sicario over here right now.
Where the stand down come from? Were you just assuming that may have happened?
Is that not a proper assumption, though?
No, I'm just saying, like, because I don't know. I didn't
The
follow it. I saw the video and I read that article.
doing
but
the
I don't know if like there was anything like, oh, don't go to that conference.
Well, they
Is
can't
that, like,
say
a
that.
no-no?
No, well, they can't. The
Kind of
problem,
like Chaz. Remember
well,
Chaz?
no. Well, the problem is they can't give a no stand down. I'm sorry, they can't give a stand down order
Mhm.
because by doing that, you're subjecting yourself to litigation. So if someone does get hurt in there, and it's like, well, you gave a stand down order, so you're basically told your cop don't go help people. You're subjecting yourself to litigation. So they're not going to actually come out and say stand down, but they're probably going to say something like, trying to think how they would word it proper or not word it proper. Anything happening over here, we don't have to handle it. This entity is now looking over it. So we don't have to go. They'll say it like somebody else is taking care of it, so they don't go in there. Or maybe they go over the radio. Maybe they go over the radio beforehand. Any calls in this sector are to be are to be held.
Be advised on.
Be advised, whatever parent, and you give the badge number, and you make up some bullshit so it actually it's not said out loud. So that's how I would feel they're going to do it. They're going to do it under the radar. They're going to say, we're not going to go to this. They're not going to say it out loud, but they'll call dispatchers, any radio calls for whatever the sector may be or whatever you want to call it. They're to be held or to be notified. This person notify a supervisor first, and they go through some bullshit chain of command. Or they make it unfound, something like that.
That video in particular, no cop showed up.
the woman,
Because I know there are 911 tapes, correct? They're like people.
they're
tape
saying
calls.
they're getting 911 calls.
Yeah,
I
they're
know
saying they're
there
being
have
like
been,
blown out of the water with the 911
Right.
calls they're getting, but there's no problem.
well, let me put it
There's
this
no
way.
tape, though.
If cops showed up, where's the video of the cops there?
Yeah.
Okay. Residents from those apartment complexes stated they call. Why would that be something you lied about?
Oh, I'm not saying that's a lie.
It's not like you're going to sit there if these people are banging the door. Going, no, don't call the cops. I'm going to try to make it sound good later. Saying I called them. No, you're going to call the cops. So, and if the cops showed up, the cops are going to say no. They're going to prove that they showed up. They're going to go, no, here's the video. Our cops showed up at the
Yeah.
time. Maybe the guys were gone. They're going to say they were going on arrival. Nobody's saying. So even they're not being even they're going there and being completely, non-transparent, which doesn't make sense because then that's your own fault. Or they're completely disregarding because the people aren't even saying, hey, the cops came late. They're saying they didn't come at all.
And this is in Aurora, Colorado. This isn't even like a well-known town. It's not like it's not necessarily a border. Well, we're all borders.
Well, it's not like
Yeah.
Chicago, but the problem is Denver took in more immigrants per capita than any other city. So now Aurora being right outside of Denver,
Yeah.
Denver's got their problems, but now it's leaking out into the suburbs.
It's crazy, man, because literally every state is a border state.
I mean, you can't, because they put them everywhere. They put them in every major city, so it scatters them. I mean, I was listening to Ed Calderon. I don't know if you're, and he used to work for the Mexican, I want to say like their kind of Secret Service police, or I'm not Secret Service, like their SWAT police or whatever. And the dude's probably the most educated person on cartels right now. I know Venezuela and Mexico are different, but he said that Mexico, the cartels have infiltrated all 50 states, even Alaska, all 50 states they're operating in. I heard from another guy, I think his name was Luis Champaro. He was on, and he's a journalist, but he's like he gets in with the cartels. He said right now what the cartels are doing, they're sending part by part, small part by small part. I think they said there's even 12 or 16 guys working for the cartels in the United States now who are putting together miniguns. Minigun, like the kind of guns you would see on the side of a helicopter.
Yeah.
They're putting those guns together. How much down? I mean, you want to talk about doing some serious damage?
And where is this? In Mexico?
No, they had the guys who are building them.
Yeah.
They're in the United States. He said there's 12 to 16 of these guys in the United States. And what they're doing is, because you can't just bring a minigun into the U.S.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're sending small part by small part and engineers build these things here. So how much damage is that going to do when cops actually do show up and you have a freaking 50 cal minigun? You have no chance at this.
No, absolutely.
You have no chance.
Absolutely.
I mean, you need snipers far away taking shots because, I mean, you wouldn't have a prayer against something like this.
That's all.
This is the shit that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So, it's not, I mean, it's here. It's here. It's coming.
Yeah, it's not coming. It's here. It's continuing to come, but it's been coming for years now, and now it's here. It's getting pretty scary. And I don't know how much, like, what does it take for people to actually understand that this is a problem, and that it has nothing to do with racism or hating migrants or anything like that.
No, it's actually Mexican people telling us
You have to.
that this is happening. It's
people
migrants
have
telling
to-
us this.
People have to understand that when you have an influx of people, yes, they're not all going to be great, like good people. The majority of them probably are, who want to come here and better their lives, but the wrong people take that situation and they can exploit it.
These are the Venezuelans who were emptied out.
Yeah.
When Venezuela emptied their prisons out,
Stuff.
these are the ones we're getting. This is what we're getting now. These aren't car thieves or something like that. We're getting the worst of the worst. And now this answers the question. So when you watch those videos and you see the gang members outside their doors with, like, all kinds of guns and stuff, and we're talking about them building miniguns now. So when someone turns around and says, "What do you need an AR-15 and a 30-round mag for?" Because of you, because people like you let this shit happen. I have no choice but to do this to defend myself. So if anything, I mean, if there's any white pill moment, they're making a real good push for the Second Amendment.
Yeah. That's scary stuff.
It's gonna happen, man. It's not even if, it's just when and where. And now, I mean, I guess Aurora's ground zero for it, at least.
I mean, that's what we got. That's the topics we have on that we were going to talk about today.
Get a gun and train. Get a gun, start training. Yeah. Best advice I can give you. Get a gun, start training, because it ain't getting any better between now and November. And God only knows what happens after November. If no matter who goes in.
If Donald Trump loses, this is going to be 10 times worse, if not more, because this is already an administration who has proven to fail.
Oh,
And they have a failure rate with the border. I don't care what they're doing now, because right now they're just trying to make their numbers look better because it was an election year. They don't care. If they win, they get and she gets into to office again, it's going to be wide open again. There's not going to be any border protection. There's not going to be anything added. Why? Because it's not an election year, and they want more people coming in. And it's necessarily, this is my opinion, not necessarily because they're going to vote, but when you saturate states with more people, what happens? You get more representatives. You have to have that representation in Congress. Now,
so I agree with that. The second part I would say is by bringing in people from all over the world who do not assimilate to your culture, you don't have a country.
no.
And you're a lot easier to control when everybody's fighting against everybody else.
And that's the thing. Like they say, America's a melting pot. Yes, it still can be. We're not saying don't accept people. Just do it the legal way.
Vet it.
Yeah, you have to vet, and you have to assimilate. And that should be any country. Any country is going to take in people who have to assimilate to our values. There's a reason why a country is successful. They have certain values. This is how we do it here. If you start bringing people in from other countries who don't have those values,
Does
it's
Yale
going to go down.
Does Yale take in like D+ students?
Well, not.
So you go to the Ivy League, which they're all garbage now anyway, but let's just say what they used to represent. Does Harvard, Yale, UP, do they take someone who got like an 800 on their?
No, and there's reasons why.
Right, because we don't need you here, stupid.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's pretty much the same concept. This is a country, and this country has to be run like a business, like a college, like a university, like you're saying. Like you don't want the worst coming in, so you have to properly vet them. And when I say the worst, I'm talking about criminals. I'm talking about the people who are here to do damage because they already did their damage in here. They were kicked out because
They're
of it. Now
locusts.
they're over here.
They go from one to another, destroying until there's nothing left. And now, I mean, this is going to be this. Everybody thought the Civil War was going to be, if we have a second, it's going to be right versus left. I don't think so. It's going to be American versus illegals. Not illegals per se, but the gang illegal. Okay. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be cartel members, Venezuelan gangs, radical Islamists, terrorists.
It wouldn't necessarily be a civil war, though.
Well, it's a war in our country. It's an invasion. Maybe
It could be a civil war, though, if you have people from a certain party,
you
political
may.
party,
It's
who's
gonna be
on their
factions.
side.
That's the biggest problem. If that kicks off, we're not in agreement. This isn't Red Dawn, where the Russians parachuted down and now it's just Americans versus Russians. There's so many factions in this. And this is the true chaos. You don't know who's on your side. You can't just shoot people who are Hispanic. He's Venezuelan. Like, I don't, is he, how do you do this? Like, this is the chaos. And you want to talk about a fog of war. It's going to be, well, there's the radical Islamist terrorists here. I don't know who they are. Oh, we have cartel members. Like, I can't just shoot Mexicans. It's like, I don't know how to deal with this. I mean, you're basically, it's one of the rules of engagement are going to basically be, hey, if they shoot at you, shoot back.
Yeah.
Which, not a lot of fun.
No.
But it's not going to be, I'm telling you, I'm not saying right and left aren't bickering, very least. I don't think the movies and all this stuff where the Civil War is going to be conservative versus liberal. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be American versus whatever garbage we let in this country.
Mhm.
When I say garbage, I mean bad, the actual bad, not the good people coming in, bad people who are doing this apartment complex takeover. There's some people who are catching at the border who are on terrorist watch list. That's the bad. How many slip through?
Yeah.
That's the problem we're going to have. And I'm going to call it now. Before the election, we're going to have something on that.
So
Big,
I
going to happen.
agree.
whether it's
Right,
something
right.
on Trump or it's a terrorist thing, whether it's Mexican cartels or it's Islam, I don't know, or it's domestic. A white dude, I don't know. Something big is definitely going to happen for the election.
Well, let's hope not. If it does, and we're still here to talk about it, we'll do that. And right now, that's all we can. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch our channel, watch the video. Make sure to like it, subscribe, hit the bell, share, and we'll see you next time.
Go Treen.